Welcome. Today is Sunday, April 7th, 2019. Here's what's what. South Korea launched the world's first nationwide 5G mobile networks 2 days early, giving a handful of users access in a late-night scramble to be the first providers of the super-fast wireless technology. 3 top telecom providers, SK Telecom, KT, and LG U+, began their 5G services at 11 p.m. local time Wednesday, April 3rd, despite previously announcing the launch date would be April 5th, 2019. Hyper-wired South Korea has long had a reputation for technical prowess, and Seoul had made the 5G rollout a priority as it seeks to stimulate stuttering economic growth. Along with the US, China, and Japan, South Korea had been racing to claim the title as the world's first provider of the ultra-fast network. But speculation that the US mobile carrier Verizon might start its 5G services early forced South Korean providers to hastily organize a late-night launch. In the event, Verizon began rolling out its 5G services in Chicago and Minneapolis on Wednesday in the US, a week ahead of schedule. But the South Korean launches came 2 hours earlier. And 2 days later, on Friday, telecom giant Samsung Electronics released the Galaxy S10 5G, the world's first available smartphone with built-in 5th-generation communications, as South Korea seeks to build a lead in the transformative technology. On Friday, April 5th in Norway, researchers at the Andøya Space Center launched 2 sounding rockets into a minor geomagnetic storm. When the night began, people were treated to a fine outburst of auroras, ignited by a stream of solar wind buffeting Earth's magnetic field. As the auroras started to ebb away, rockets were launched into the fading lights. The show began anew as the rockets released their payload of fine powders into the upper atmosphere. An automated webcam caught the first puffs of powder emerging from the rockets. The goal was to measure winds and currents in the ionosphere, an electrically charged layer of the Earth's atmosphere where auroras appear. The twin rockets deployed 2 chemical tracers. These mixtures created colorful clouds that allowed researchers to track the flow of natural and charged particles. According to NASA, which funded the mission, the chemicals pose no hazard to residents in the region. Conagra Brands Incorporated is voluntarily recalling a limited amount of Hunt's tomato paste, no salt added 6-ounce cans. After the canning process, the final product could have been damaged, creating the potential for mold. Conagra Brands became aware of the issue after receiving calls from consumers. The products covered by this recall were distributed for retail sale in the U.S. The product being recalled is 6-ounce cans of Hunt's tomato paste, no salt added, with a UPC code of 2105902510 and an expiration date of October 16, 2020. Given the product may contain mold, consumers are advised not to use it and to either throw it away or return it to the store where originally purchased. Conagra Brands has informed the FDA of this recall and is working with customers to ensure the impacted product is removed from the store shelves and is no longer distributed. Turning to birthdays for today, April 7th. Russell Crowe turns 55. Russell's an actor, film producer, and musician. Although a New Zealand citizen, he's lived most of his life in Australia. He came to international attention for his role as the Roman general in the 2000 historical epic film Gladiator. Jackie Chan is 65. Jackie's a Hong Kong martial artist, actor, film director, producer, stuntman, and singer. He's known for his acrobatic fighting style, comic timing, use of improvised weapons, and innovative stunts, which he typically performs himself. He's trained in wushu or kung fu and hapkido and has been acting since the 1960s, appearing in over 150 films. John Oates is 71 today. John's an American rock, R&B, and soul guitarist, singer, songwriter, and record producer, best known as half of the rock and soul duo Hall & Oates. Although Oates' main role in the duo was guitarist, he also co-wrote many of the top songs that they recorded, including Man-Eater, You Make My Dreams, and I Can't Go For That. Authorities in the southwestern German city of Heilbronn on Friday announced that a chemical spill at a local shipping company likely killed every living creature in a 10-mile stretch of the Sochsach River. Some 100 firefighters, police, and animal rescue workers sought to limit the damage and prevent further destruction by pumping clean water from nearby lakes and ponds into the river in an effort to dilute chemicals, as well as fishing out many dead animals. Fire department officials say several tons of fish, as well as a large number of waterfowl and deer, were killed in the stretch of water between two towns. Police warned local residents to avoid the area and to keep their children and animals away from the river. Authorities believe an accident that occurred at a nearby shipping company on Tuesday may be the cause of the contamination. Some 1,000 liters, 265 gallons, of toxic chemicals were thought to have entered the river when the accident occurred. Initial water analysis found high concentrations of glycol, ethylene glycol, and alcohol in the water, as well as higher than normal amounts of ammonia. Glycol is, among other things, used to make antifreeze. The South Korean government has declared a state of natural disaster as firefighters continue to battle deadly wildfires in the country's northeast. At least one person has been killed and thousands have been forced to evacuate. More than 10,000 emergency workers and hundreds of fire trucks have been deployed to bring several blazes under control. The fire started in Gangwon province on Thursday. Officials say the fires, fueled by strong dry winds, burned 125 homes and 250 hectares of forest in areas along the coast. More than 4,000 people spent the night at temporary shelters. Some say their escape was delayed by heavy traffic. It's the first time in 14 years that mountain fires led the government to declare a state of natural disaster. President Moon held an emergency meeting and instructed officials to use all available resources to bring the situation under control. J&J Snack Foods HANDHELDS Corporation, a North Carolina establishment, is recalling approximately 56,578 pounds of stuffed sandwich products that may be contaminated with extraneous materials, specifically semi-transparent plastic. The stuffed sandwiches were produced on February 19th and February 20th, 2019. The following products are subject to recall: 9-ounce carton packages containing 2 stuffed pepperoni sandwiches with Bremer Classic Pepperoni Pizza hot stuffed sandwiches, and 9-ounce carton packages containing 2 ham and cheese sandwiches with Bremer Classic Ham and Cheese hot stuffed sandwiches. The products subject to recall bear establishment number EST 27231 inside the USDA mark of inspection. These items were shipped to retail locations nationwide. The problem was discovered when the establishment received consumer complaints. Anyone concerned about any injury or illness should contact a healthcare provider. University of Central Florida researchers have developed a way to control the speed of light. Not only can they speed up a pulse of light and slow it down, they can also make it travel backward. This is the first clear demonstration of controlling the speed of a pulse light in free space, and it opens up doors for many applications, an optical buffer being just one of them. But most importantly, it's done in a simple way that's repeatable and reliable. Researchers demonstrated they could speed a pulse of light up to 30 times the speed of light, slow it down to half the speed of light, and also make the pulse travel backward. The researchers were able to develop the technique by using a special device known as a spatial light modulator to mix the space and time properties of light, thereby allowing them to control the velocity of the pulse of light. The mixing of the two properties was key to the technique's success. They're able to control the speed of the pulse by going into the pulse itself and reorganizing its energy such that its space and time degrees of freedom are mixed in with each other. The achievement is a major step in research that could one day lead to more efficient optical communication, as the technique could be used to alleviate data congestion and prevent information loss. The chrome plating on the Chinese Terracotta Army bronze weapons, once thought to be the earliest form of anti-rust technology, derives from a decorative varnish rather than a preservation technique, a new study finds. The researchers reveal that the chemical composition and characteristics of the surrounding soil, rather than chromium, may be responsible for the weapon's famous preservation power. The terracotta warriors and most organic materials of the mausoleum were coated with protective layers of lacquer before being painted with pigments, but interestingly, not the bronze weapons. First excavated in the 1970s, the terracotta army warriors were armed with fully functional bronze weapons. Dozens of spears, lances, hooks, swords, crossbow triggers, and as many as 40,000 arrowheads have all been recovered. Although the original organic components of the weapons, such as the wooden shafts, quivers, and scabbards, have mostly decayed over the past 2,000 years, the bronze components remain in remarkably good condition.